Good morning, gang, gang. Your host, Afakasi Raider, with my guys, Raider Solo, Ont6 Soldier, down below, back at it again with another edition of Wake Up Nation. Start with you, Solo. What's cracking, brother? How you doing?
Chilling, man. Ready to talk that Raider shit as usual, man. They're having a good, good Saturday morning, man. It's cool out here, man. How y'all doing, man?
Ont6.
I'm good, brother. Can't complain. Another day. We're wake up. Get to talk Raiders football. Good to see you guys as always. Shout out to everyone in the chat.
For sure. Shout out to Robert, Jar, already in the chat. Appreciate you guys. First things first, shout out to LA. You know what I mean? Like, I might be here in Australia, but I could see the news on the TV. We're not doing so well out there, and we all three of us have friends. Some of you, including yourself, Ont6, have family over there. So prayers up, and my thoughts are with the people and the Raider Nation that are in LA. Stay strong, brothers and sisters, and hopefully we'll get through this soon. Well, you guys anyway. So just wanted to share that real quick before we get into proceedings to do with the year in review. But first things first, I guess we'll address the elephant in the room, being the latest news in the last couple of days. So first, we relieved Antonio Pierce of his head coaching duties, and then we relieved our GM, Tom Telesco, of his GM duties. So I'll start with you, Ont6. How are you feeling about the recent firings of head coach and GM?
First of all, I'd just say I was a little shocked by both firings, but the more one that really got me pissed off was the AP one, because why the hell would you let this man go out there and do an interview and make it seem like he's coming back?
Right.
You know what I mean? That's the fucked up part about it. It's nothing about if you like them or not. Just the fucked up part being a human being that he let him go out there and do that. That was the fucked up part about it. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. I wanted AP last year, and that's who I wanted. I still think we should have given him another year. You know what I mean? That's the thing is too. When you have a rookie head coach, I understand he has some experience because he did it a couple games last year, but he's still gonna make rookie mistakes, and it's gonna take him time to grow to be the coach that he's gonna be. But at the same time, it just sucks. I don't want to see him go. But with come to Let's Go, I understand how everyone's a little mad because he hit on the draft, but he missed on the biggest position on the team, and that's at quarterback. He want to go sign Garner Minshew and give him all that money. Why? Why? Looking back on it, why? It's one of the stupidest moves that we literally done in this franchise in the last 10, 15 years. Signing him right up there with the Chandler Jones one, it's just ridiculous to me. But at the end of the day, as persons, I wish him luck going on forward, and it just sad too because not only did Antonio Pierce lost his job, his son lost his job as well. That was working with him. So, shout out to AP. Thank you for everything. Once a Raider, always a Raider.
For sure. And salute to Bentha. Nice to see you in the chat, my friend, as well as Tony.
What's up,
hope you have a good day at work, Ben. I'm going to have to get you to come on one of our shows. It's been a minute since I've had you on my side of the fence, Bentha. So, of course, you've got your work schedule, but would love to have you come back and grace us with your presence sometime. So we'll tee up behind the scenes. But anyways, Solo, how you feeling, bro?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I wasn't too shocked about AP being fired because truly he's not ready. I don't think he's ready yet. I think he's gotten better maybe the last 2 or 3 games, but for the most part, man, I think he kind of deserved to be fired, but to be fired that way, I don't think it was right. I think if you're gonna fire AP, you should have did that maybe like maybe the 10th game or something like that, because that would have definitely put us in a better spot to get a draft pick as well, because we obviously need that. But Tom Telesco, that's the one that shocked me, man. I thought he did a great job in the draft. Now, as far as free agent signings, Christian Wilkins being the only guy he signed, and we struggled in the running back room, and definitely struggled with the quarterback position. Tom Telesco, you can kind of say he kind of failed in that area. But as far as draft picks, he did a great job. But I'm guessing Tom Brady is not just gonna roll with one guy and not the other. He's just gonna clean house and start from scratch. So and I'm not mad at it. I'm just ready to get this shit going, man. We need to change right now. So I'm cool with it. It's no problem with me.
I shared the panel earlier. Was it last night for you guys with Bentham? Shout out to Nutty Nate, my co-host, is unavailable at this time. I know he stayed up late for his own live, so I didn't expect him to show up for this one. And Pizzle, when I was asked the question there, like, how do I feel about the recent firings? I went on record before the season and gave Antonio Pierce my endorsement. I believed he was going to be the guy that was going to bring us back to the promised land and get us to where we want to be in time. Bank on it. That's the quote I said. It displeases me greatly to say that I was wrong. You know, like I said on the live last night, I dared to dream that a guy who I felt embodied the Raider way, was a passionate Raider, something that Josh McDaniels most certainly was not, was going to be the guy that would be the one that would lead us back to where we haven't been for many years, like that commitment to excellence. And I just wanted it so bad to be him. And unfortunately,
Right.
he get that chance to live up to what I hoped he would become as we have released him. And yeah, upsetting, as well as, you know, releasing Tom Telesco. I'm with you. I thought he did well with the draft, and salute to Whitney Coleman. He deserved more time. Well, I wanted to see if he could get more time, but, you know, here we are. At the end of the day, it's like I said on the panel last night, I'm all for whatever makes the Raiders better. You know what I'm saying? And if moving on from him and Tom Telesco and getting someone in the door who can get us to where we want to be sooner rather than later, and have more the front, the top of the chain, like Tom Brady and Mark Davis, have more confidence in them, then I'm all for whatever's going to make the Raiders better. So thank you for your services, but if this is the way it has to be, then this is the way it has to be. This is where we're at now. So thank you for your services, but I'm ready to move on, move forward. It's like, what? Okay, who's going to be our head coach now, and who's going to be our GM? That's what I'm looking at. I'm not going to look back. I'm going to look forward.
Right.
So I'll ask you guys. You guys might know a little more about the coaching candidates than I do. I got Travis Scott in the Travis Scott's burner saying "Sing Fiend." No, we're talking Raider football, so I'm gonna pass on that one. We'll see you guys. I got a little cooked being on Captain Jack's live the other day because I wasn't quite sure about the candidates. As you guys know, I only watch Raider football. I don't watch football outside of Raider football. So my knowledge of the candidates that we may bring in the door is very, very limited as to, you know, the team's records of the teams that they were a part of. You know what I'm saying? Right. So do you guys know much about any of the guys we're looking at?
Go ahead, Solo.
I'm gonna be all the way honest. I'm not, you know, I don't really watch coaches. That's not something I'm into. That I'm not, you know, I just go off of basically who wins. I base my paying attention on coaches based off of who wins all the time. But I honestly see the difference that Ben Johnson has brought to the Lions. You talking about a team that was won 3 games prior to him coming there, and he took them all the way to 8-9 wins. Then to now they got 13 wins. So the guy's offensive philosophy is real good. I'm not gonna take that from him. Vrabel, he got a good track record. You know, I'm not saying he's the guy.
Head coach, right?
You say that again?
Sorry, he's Tennessee's old head coach, right?
Yeah.
When they were
Mark
making
playoff I think it's Vrabel. I forgot his first name, but Vrabel and Pete Carroll and so it's a few more other guys. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not too knowledgeable about the other guys, but because I base off the wins of what they.
Who's the African American guy they're looking at? Like those are all Caucasian
He's
guys. I know
Aaron
that there was one guy who.
Glenn. It was Aaron Glenn.
I think he's a defensive coordinator though. So,
Yeah.
but I don't know if we should go to a defensive coordinator to bring in to get this shit going. But anyway, I ain't gonna lie, man. As long as whatever it takes, however long it takes, I'm fine as long as they pick the right coach. But as far as my knowledge as coaches, that's about all I know. But Ont6 probably knows a lot more than me.
Right. On6, you want to share your expertise?
Well, I don't know about expertise, but I think for me, there's only a couple guys I actually am seriously considering, and that is going to be the Aaron Glenn, the defensive coordinator from the Lions, and the offensive coordinator from the Detroit Lions. As Solo said, those are only two candidates that I really do see, and I would be happy for the Raiders to sign. Just because Ben Johnson, as Solo said, the first year he was there as a quarterback coach, and then he got promoted and just completely took over that offense and just made it to what it is. And everybody needs to realize Jared Goff was looking like a bust before he went, got traded there. You know what I mean? Everybody was wondering what the hell, but he's looking pretty good now. It looks like a great trade they made. You know what I mean? They were out to get Jamar Gibbs out of that trade as well, but I'm really excited. If I really want Ben Johnson, just because I know he can turn around this offense. But the only big question mark is that quarterback position. So at least there he chooses his own quarterback, not inherit one. You know what I mean? But the defensive corner with the Lions, he's just amazing from what everybody's telling me. Just look at the performance he had with I think he had his top three corners out and two out of his three defensive linemen out and his two starting linebackers out. And look what he did against the Minnesota Vikings offense. You know what I mean? So he's just real good defensive coordinator, but it's just the offensive side that really warns me about just like he did with AP. But there's a couple other guys that we are interviewed. We requested to interview I believe the quarterback coach or offensive coordinator from the Buccaneers, just because he's been able to turn around Baker Mayfield's career over there in Tampa Bay and shit. So that's somebody else. But I believe there's somebody else too, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But I really want Ben Johnson just because I know he can fix the offense, and I hope he gives our defense coordinator in place so we can just let the defense stay how it is, and he can just worry about the offense. But it's going to be interesting offseason.
And forgive me if I'm mistaken, but just by the photos of what is it, Ben Johnson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He looks quite young, doesn't he?
Yes, he is. He's a young guy.
Right. So someone young and fresh, I can dig that. As well as like if we're looking at the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator from the Lions, I mean, rightly so. I mean, they're a team that's been languishing in mediocrity just as long as we have, maybe longer. You know what I'm saying? And for them to turn around in 3 years from being a 3-win team to now, they look like they could possibly be pushing for a deep playoff push as well as maybe possibly a Super Bowl. Like that's the kind of trend I want to see with the Raiders. And if those guys had a big part of it, hopefully they can bring that over to the Raiders. If it's one of those guys, or whoever it is, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I saw Tony was saying that they're interviewing the offensive coordinator from the Ravens. Pete Carroll, I did watch a lot of when once upon a time I used to watch a lot more football outside of Raider football. That was around that 2013, 2015 period, the Legion of Boom period where the Seahawks made 2 Super Bowls. They won one, they lost one. And I liked what I saw from Pete Carroll around that time. But being in your 70s,
it's kind of
like with all due respect to the older heads, like I kind of want to go on a, I like the fact that Ben Johnson is young. You know what I mean? Like someone young and fresh.
What about the Chiefs defensive coordinator? What's his name?
Steve Spagnuolo.
Spagnuolo, yeah. I seen we were supposed to interview him too, so I'm trying to figure out what y'all think about that one.
Is he the guy who used to head coach the Rams?
Yeah, he was.
And
he was a head
that
coach
was
before.
when they had their worst season, just before they got the number 1 pick with Sam Bradford, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. But that's what his first coaching stint was as well. That was his first time he was a head coach, so maybe he learned from that. But The only reason I would welcome
We
that
said
is
that about Josh McDaniels. Sorry to cut you off. We were saying that about Josh McDaniels. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like, with all due respect to Spagnola, like I don't know. I'm just getting shades and analogies of, and I'm sure he's not quite the pardon my French, but this is the Australian coming out, the cunt that Josh McDaniels was. But
He does like that.
you know what I'm saying?
And you got to factor in would Spagnola be even known like that if he wouldn't have Patrick Mahomes on the other side? So I don't know, man. Yeah,
I mean, for me, the only reason I would welcome him is just because it will make the team's worse team. Just because he's a good defensive coordinator. That's the only reason I would welcome him, because it'll make that team worse. But at the end of the day, it just, this Tom Brady variable is just crazy to me, because it's just funny how somebody can just buy a little bit of a portion of the team and just has all this power now and just ability to influence decisions and shit that are getting made. But hopefully at the end of the day, he knows what he's doing. You know what I mean? Because I'm hesitant to believe that he does, especially too. I know he knows football, the X's and O's, talent, quarterbacks. You know what I mean? But what does he know about contracts or anything other stuff that he has no idea about? You know what I mean? But at the end of the
bingo.
day, he must have some big say for Mark Davis to get Antonio Pierce and Tom Tedesco out of here, because now Mark Davis is going to be paying 4 coaching staffs, which is unbelievable to me thinking
It's
about it.
insane, man.
Which is why we need to get it right. Look, I guess at the end of the day, I don't really care. I'm gonna try and have faith and trust that these are going to be the guy. This is going to be the guy, and the GM as well, the guys that are going to be the right guys that can get us to where we want to be in time. The only time where I completely felt like I really don't like this move was the Josh McDaniels hiring, only because in my early days as a Raider fan, like I watched a lot of what Denver was doing, and I heard a lot about like where he went wrong over there, and I was fearful that, like, you know, he would bring that same kind of thing to Vegas, and unfortunately he did. So as long as it's not like that, I don't really care so much per se, you know.
I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out what the hell is Mark's obsession with these damn Patriot people. Like, it's like he gets a hard on when he sees a Patriot or something, man. I'm like, God damn, bro. Like, you go get Tom, you go get Josh McDaniels. I mean, who's next, man? Like, Richard Seymour is here. It's all kind of, I don't know, man.
Well, Richard Seymour was a Raider. He actually played
He
for the
was,
Rays.
but
He was a passionate
he
Raider.
still was a
You know what I'm
Patriot
saying?
too. That's all. But that,
Yeah,
I'm just
I know,
saying,
but I wouldn't put him in the same cloth as McDaniels.
you're right. And he's an SC South Carolina native. I ain't gonna disrespect Richard Seymour,
Right. Me neither.
but golly,
Respect
Mark got
Richard Seymour.
Mark get the hard eyes for these Patriot people, man. I'm telling you, this is crazy.
At the end of the day, look, like the way we've been doing things hasn't worked for a long time now, and whatever it takes to get us back there, I'm all for it. So that's
Agreed.
all I want to say about that. Well, look, here we are, end of the season. No more Raider football until, what is it, August, September?
Fuck, I didn't want to think about it. That
Right. Well, look, at least we got free agency and the draft to look forward to. That's always exciting. But looking back at a very, very disappointing season, was there any highlight for you, or any moment that you could say, you know, that was something that was somewhat memorable?
I mean,
I know they were few and far between.
well, we all know who the highlight of the season is. It's that one guy that I said we shouldn't have fucking drafted. That Brock Bowers, man. That dude. Listen, man. That dude is one of a kind, man. I didn't. If I would have known he was gonna be like this, you know, I would have never reacted the way I did. I didn't. I slept on the dude. And Brock Bowers, I'm sorry. Raider Nation, I'm sorry. I should have never disrespected Brock Bowers, man. This dude is probably the best tight end in NFL history, and he's a Raider now. The problem is, I just want to see him stay, man. That's the thing, man. We got to turn this shit around. But for the highlights of the season, man, Brock Bowers, dog.
For sure. I'm sorry. I was just situating my dog. Well, it's nice to eat crow on something that worked out for the Raiders, right? So I'm more than happy to eat that humble pie. I mean, we were on the same panel, and salute to you, James, to see you in the building. I was a little bit optimistic during our live reaction, being that like I was quickly like thinking, well, right, we just drafted one last year. I don't know anything about this guy, but if we're going to draft another one with high capital, surely this guy must be that good. And he proved to be even better than being that good. I mean, the guy's an all-pro and broke all kinds of records his rookie season. I mean, sky's the limit for this guy. And if he keeps trending like that, this is a guy who could be a generational talent. And I see that for him being that, like, the only things that would cut him short from that is injury or off the field issues. And this guy is a character guy. I don't see off the field issues being a hindrance. And if he's able to do it,
white boy from Georgia, he's not gonna give you any problem. Well, I ain't gonna say he's from Georgia, but that white boy is not gonna get in no trouble, man.
Right, but he seems like a high character guy, so there's no reason why he shouldn't be a great player for years to come. And if he's able to achieve this in his rookie year, who knows what he's going to do 3, 4, 5 years down the line. And hopefully he stays with the Raiders post his rookie contract. But for now, look, we've got him for another 4 years, so we'll see what happens. But any other standout moments maybe Ont6 for you?
I mean, there's 2 players I want to shout out, and they're also rookies, Jackson Powers Johnson and our right tackle Glaze. You know what I mean? For them coming in as rookies and to be able to start and then produce how they did, that's really amazing to me, especially to Glaze. I know we're all hating on the pick when it happened because we were like, why? You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it was one of the better picks and shit. And now just to think that we pretty much got 3 out of the 5 positions off the line set for a while, it's pretty good for me. But just want to shout them out as well.
For sure.
And Better Bag Edits, new viewer in the feed. Nice to see you. He's asking, should I buy Jacoby Myers or Sincere McCormick in Dynasty Football, or wait and see if they draft a wide receiver? Long story short, Jacoby Myers, yes. Sincere McCormick, not so much, being that we're probably going to draft one. But salute to you. Nice to see you in the feed. I don't know. Like I agree with your answers. The other standout moments for me, I guess, like from a games perspective, that Ravens game, to turn that game around when we looked like we were dead in the water and come away with a victory. After Max Crosby pulled Gardner Minshew aside and gave him that whole spiel, and then that Browns game, when we won on the final play of the game with Charles Snowden, getting that game-sealing sack. I mean, things were looking up from there. We actually won 2 straight, didn't we? Did we win 2 straight? Well, we were 2-2 at the time, and then we had that Broncos game, and through that interception, the momentum of our season just went.
Yeah.
The Saints game, I thought was, probably the highlight as well. We won that game whistle to whistle. But some of my standout plays, I guess, like the Bowers catch and run against the who was it against? The Broncos for a touchdown. That was a real nice player. And salute to you, Jeff. I see you in the building as well. The interception by Jack Jones granted the game was already away from us, but it was a great play against the
Bengals,
I believe. That interception by Khalil Chason was a very athletic play. I really like that one too.
Right.
That motion 50-yard bomb to Trey Tucker against the Chiefs for a touchdown.
Right.
That was nice.
God.
I
Max
like
Crosby's performance against the Ravens.
That was his best performance all year.
It was. We had Christian Wilkins helping him out there, so unfortunately we didn't see more of the connection with what we thought was going to be the strength of the team. We didn't end up seeing them together at all with Kuntz, Wilkins, and Crosby. Sorry, Solar, you want to say something?
Oh no, I just want, because I didn't highlight a player. Jacorian Bennett, man, that's who I wanted to talk about.
Yeah,
I thought he was on to a good start, man, until he got injured, man. But man, I just really hope the new regime that comes in, retains the right guys, and we get to keep certain players. I know guys like Ja'Cory Bennett is young and he's gonna be here, but I just thought he did a great job because I don't remember anybody making any catches on him. He was, he didn't get any interceptions, but I thought he did a great job based off of what he did last season too. Because last season he looked like the Cameron Richardson looking now, so
right, he did. And
he looked just like him.
building.
So yeah, I just had to give him his props, man. I had to give him some Raider love real quick. So that's about it, but
we will. I'll give you another chance to touch up more on Ja'Cory Bennett because we're going to do a end of season in review grading system shortly. But just first things first, Jeff, I'm going to send you a DM with the link if you want to come and join us for a little bit. So, what about you, Ont6? You got any other moments you want to share?
I mean, just a little highlight of Sincere McCormick when he was out there. You know what I mean? Just showed us that he could be maybe a number one running back. But you know what I mean? We all said that about Zamir White last year, just after those couple games, and look how he looked this year.
exactly.
Especially when some people were going to say that our three running backs were going to replace Josh Jacobs and shit, and they were going to run for 1,600 yards and 16 touchdowns, and look how that turned out. You know what I mean? It just
horrible take.
It just always breaks my heart as a Raider fan that we draft these guys, we develop them, and then we let them walk out the door, and then they leave, and then you see them ball out like Meek Robinson the other day and shit with the Detroit Lions and shit. You know what I mean? Look at the game he had. Look at the year that Josh Jacobs had for the Green Bay Packers. He pretty much carried that offense this year. You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous that every year there's always players that leave that go out and ball out in other teams. We should be keeping them and should be core players going on to the future. Just makes me worried that we're going to lose a couple players this year. What if we lose Nate Haas, Trevon Moore, Robert Spillane? There's a bunch of free agents that we need to keep here, and that's the one thing this next GM needs to do is keep this core together. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to make more holes in this team than there already are. This defense is pretty much set and ready to go, especially when we get our players healthy in this offseason and come back. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, we just need to get this shit going, and whatever we need to do, we need to do.
For sure. And I heard that I saw the highlights from Meek Robinson's performance against Jefferson and the Vikings. So salute to Meek. Meek was a guy that I wanted to keep, but I think it was a case of if we're going to look to retain Nate Hobbs, then are we going to pay all that money for a guy who's going to be likely a dime guy? So, I get the move at the time, but it's nice to see he's doing well over there in his new team, as well as Josh Jacobs. But yeah, the moments where that few and far between, right? And salute to Sal, Cool Kev, Wild Turkey, and Young Bros has just joined the feed. So appreciate you guys. Go ahead, Sol.
I think we definitely, now that I'm looking at it, now that the season's over, we should have kept them because the Cameron Richardson got destroyed all season long. And he's a rookie. I ain't gonna shit on him too bad, but I'm just keeping it real, man. Meek would have, at least stopped a bunch of that. So they attacked the rookie all year. So they knew that was our weakness, and he just got to develop, man. So I think we now looking at it in hindsight, we should have retained him, man.
Right. Hindsight's always 50-50, I guess, but
right.
Yeah. Whatever. But with Cam Richardson, he had a trial by fire year and he got cooked a lot, but there's still some things there that I see potential with him. Remember, Meek Robertson took his licks, much like Cam Richardson did, being that these are guys who weren't supposed to be starters, but by circumstance, injuries, we put them in positions they weren't supposed to be in, and trial by fire. So it's a learning experience. I expected as much from Cam. So, hopefully he has that sophomore jump, much like Ja'Cory Bennett did.
Right.
So it's that Raiders fan. Telesco has been the only actual veteran GM we ever hired. None of the rookie first-timer GMs. So I'm curious on the next hire at GM. Right. So I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. Right. So buckle up. It's gonna be an interesting ride the off season, right?
Yes, it is.
Mark is so unpredictable, man. Mark is so unpredictable.
Right. Well, at least it's going to be interesting, right?
It is.
From a content creating perspective.
Content galore.
Right. I think Tom T hung into that extra money all season. Don't think we spent it. Well, the only free agent of note I can think of that they brought in mid-season was, when I think about it, Ont6 on, and he probably got signed on the cheap, right?
Yeah.
Everybody came in on the cheap with Tom. Ritter, all of them, they all came in on the cheap.
Right. Well, they were free agents mid-season for a reason, right?
Yep.
Or on practice
So
squad for a reason too.
All right, guys. Is there anything else you want to highlight before we get into our end of season review segment?
That's it for me. Let's get this started.
Yeah, let's get it.
All right, let's get it. Just give me a moment. I'm going to bring the share screen up. 1 moment, please. Present share screen, entire screen. Here we go. Change the layout. And here we... Nope, not that one. There we go. There we go. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not too small?
No, I can see.
All right, so we're going to have our end of season in review now that we're finally here. We're going to give out some grades and some names for some set awards and some non-prestigious awards as well. But I'm going to start off with you Ont6. We're going to start off with our grades, and I'm going to ask you, how do you feel about the offense?
Man, how long do we have? Not to be honest with you, though. To be honest with you, after last year, having Josh, 2 years ago, after having Josh McDaniels, I didn't think I could see a worse offense and shit. But this last guy we had took it to the whole new level, bro. I swear to God, this motherfucker was a fucking moron. Running in the rounds with fucking Devontae Adams, not having 3 receivers in the same spot. It just makes no fucking sense. And just unbelievable how different our team was once we got rid of this moron. But at the end of the day, this offense was horrible, dog. And no matter, we had the little bright spot of Brock Bowers, but everybody else, oh man, if I had to, I'll probably give him a D.
Just a flat D?
Yeah, flat D. Flat D.
All right. Solo, you're up next.
Well, to add on to that, yeah,
Nice
just like my boy Ont6 said, just when you thought Josh McDaniels was trash, you bring in more trash, and it's Luke Getsy. This guy has probably was one of the worst offensive coordinators I've ever seen. I mean, listen, I can only give this offense an F. Due to the fact that we have never scored 30 points, none this season, not once. We didn't score 30 points, not once. So, it says a lot, man. Every game, it was 19 points here, 17 points here, 13 points here, 21 points here. It's like, how can you give an offense anything higher than an F with that type of production? So, Zamir was trash. Run game was trash. Devontae quit on us. The quarterback play was ferocious, man. I don't know what to say about that, but
ferocious or atrocious?
Atrocious, ferocious, anything that atrocious. I don't give a shit what it is. It was that, but
it definitely wasn't ferocious. Go ahead, Solo.
My bad, but you get where I'm coming from. But
I give it.
Yeah, man. But North Turner and Scott Turner, I ain't gonna lie, they did kind of help it a little bit, but it was still the same stupid Luke Getsy playbook, so it didn't even matter. So F, man, I don't give him nothing better than that.
Shout out to the 32 in the chat. Westside has just joined us in the feed on 6. So salute to Westside. Nice to see you, my friend. Got to develop a running game for the passing game the passing game is irrelevant. Yeah, I agree with that.
Mandatory.
As for me, I'm right there with you, Solo. I probably would go an all the way F, being that we had the 32nd ranked running back rushing yards per carry, whatever it may be. Like we were the 32nd ranked rushing attack in the league. Our quarterback situation was very anemic, to say the least. AOC had his moments. I'll give him that. Wide receiver room outside of Jacoby Mayers, who did well, and I like Trey Tucker in his spots. I just didn't like him as that full-time starter on the outside, but he had some moments, and of course Brock Bowers. And I like the young lines that we have on the offensive line, even though the offensive line play as a whole was disappointing. At least we got DJ Glaze, Jackson Powers, Johnson to give us hope for the future there. With that said, I'd go all the way an F if it wasn't for like the Turners. I thought they did better in the last stretch of the season with the resources that they had. So that'll bump it up to a generous D- for me. All right, we'll go back to the defense. So I'll go with you, Solo.
I'm gonna be fair with the defense due to the injuries that we had to suffer, but if I had to grade them based off of what they did all season long, I'm gonna just give them a C minus, man. I ain't gonna give them a horrible grade due to because they played tough and hard through the whole entire game, due to the fact that most people were out and you know, we faced some great offenses and we didn't just get blown out. I think we got blown out maybe 3 games this year, but
right.
For the most part, the defense held up. Jack Jones, he was a little 50-50 sometimes, but for the most part, he did a good job. Chase on those guys, Jenkins, when they was healthy, they did their job. They stopped the run, got to the quarterback. Max Crosby, same thing. Jacorian Bennett, he was locking shit up, and I think he was a promising cornerback going forward. And all in like Trayvon Merrick, everybody was locked in, and I think if we had the full core there, everybody healthy, you would have seen a better defense than last season. But to give this defense anything higher than C minus, I can't do because, like I said, we did get blowed out maybe 3 or 4 games, and some games I don't know what the hell was the plan. I don't know if it was Patrick Graham's play calling, setting up, or some of the players just not understanding what they were supposed to be doing. But for the most part, I'll just give them a C minus.
All right, I'll go next. I'm going to be generous with the defense because, in my personal opinion, I think Patrick Graham and the resources that we had, being that we lost a lot of key players to injury at various times of the season, I thought they did everything they could to keep us in games. My only gripe, I guess, like other than the fact that we didn't win that many games, was also the lack of turnovers. That sucked. But outside of that, like, I believe we were the 10th ranked overall defense in the league. So just by the eye test and what they were able to do with how long they were on the field, that's also something else we got to take in consideration. Like, yes, there were games we were blown out, but still in those games, the defense tried to do, for the most part, everything they could to get the team off the field as the offense, and the lack of being able to produce, for me, which was the problem. So I'm going to be generous. I'm going to give him a B minus, teetering on C plus, being that we didn't really win any. We didn't win too many games, but being the 10th ranked overall, that's a win to me. So I'm not even going to read that comment out. That just borderlines on racist, so I don't know what the hell that's supposed to be about. But anyways, Ont6, go ahead.
I mean, first of all, I agree with everything you guys said, but for me, I'll give this defense a C plus, just because everything they have overcome. You know what I mean? Just to even finish the top 10 with all the injuries and Max being out as well, I'll just give it a C plus.
C plus.
Yes, sir.
All right. I'll go to you first with special teams on 6.
I mean, oh man, I love our special teams, but our boy Carlson did struggle this year. You know what I mean? For a little bit, it was a little shocking shit. You know what I mean? Especially too, he being
right west side.
So at the end of the day, I'm gonna give the special teams a B plus, even though Carlson struggled for a bit, but it was one of the our strongest and most consistent positions during the season.
What was his field goal efficiency? Can anybody let me know, like, how many he made compared to like how many he kicked? So, yeah, if someone could share that stat for me, please. But what about you, Solo?
I mean, yeah, Carlson had a little bit of a drop this year. Wasn't that drastic, but he had a drop. We didn't have any returns, did we? Any kick returns, punt returns?
Lobby had a big one.
Yeah, he had one, but I mean, like for touchdowns, we didn't score any touchdowns.
Once again, no touchdowns. When is that one where Dwayne Harris took one back to that house? The last time we scored a return touchdown, that was
I
what,
think
like
so.
2018. Have we
Yeah, that
scored
was
one since
a
then?
while back.
Come on. Anyways, go ahead.
So, like, I'm a strict grader. I grade strictly, man. I'm sorry, but
That's all right. Do your thing.
that the special teams, that was the least of our problems. So I ain't going to give him that bad of a grade. I'll give him a B minus, man, because for the most part, Carlson did get us points, man. Being that our offense was horrible, he did put those threes on the board.
Hey, Space Beast. Nice to see you in the feed, my friend. Been a while since I've seen you. I hope all is well. As for me, look, like, I guess like Carlson missed a little bit more than what he usually does, but he was still for the most part Mr. Consistent, Mr. Iceman. AJ Cole had a down game or two, but like we're judging these players by our very high standards, being that these guys, for the most part, Pro Bowl, All Pro, like best in the league. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But like, I didn't like that game where we had a few block punts. Who was that against? The Chargers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who was blocking our punts? Was it I want to say was it the Buccaneers?
Who was it? The Buccaneers or the Chargers? I can't remember. Whoever it was, like, that was a bad game. But that wasn't really on AJ Cole. I mean, that was more the blocking assignments.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what though, like, the special teams play, I think, was actually against the Chargers, where our special teams coach had taken a hiatus for the week, and we elevated someone to take over the duties. I think our assistant coach, and that week we missed no field goals. We had great punts. We did a trick play which was successful.
Yeah.
And we had a big return by Dylan Lobby. I can't remember the guy's name, but if we're going to elevate someone, I want to elevate him and take over.
Absolutely.
Because I believe the week where we had all those block punts, that was when we had our actual special teams coordinator. So give this guy a promotion. But yeah, look, I'll give him a B. It would be nice to get a little bit more burn from our return unit. Like, we had that one big return by Dylan Lobby, but I'm really missing the days of Jacoby Ford. Like,
big time.
Can't we try and turn Trey Tucker into that? Like, we didn't really see him too much on the return side of the thing. So, yeah. Anyways, so I gave it a B. I'll go to you, Solo, with coaching. Shit.
You sure you want to start with me? You sure you want to start with me?
I want to start with you. Let's go. Come on, Solo.
Listen, man. I love AP. Listen, man. I've never wanted a coach as bad as I wanted AP. And I'm going to say that, and I'm going to make it clear. But my goodness. I mean, I'll give him credit. He did have the guys ready to play, for the most part. Every game they competed from the beginning to the end. I will give him that. But the timeouts, the game management, the decision to put Gardner Minshew in over Aiden O'Connell is the Luke Getsy hiring. All of that plays in a factor to this grade that I'm about to give AP. Now, he did as best as he could. This is his first time trying to be a coach, and he loves being a Raider, and he did everything as far as words, talking a good talk. But when it comes to walking it, man,
yeah,
AP was horrible, man. He was terrible, and you had all these senior coaches around you, and still failed. So it's like, what the hell was they here for? I can't give AP nothing higher than a D. This I'm giving him a D only because he did give the guys some kind of hope to play this year, and the players do love him. But man, the game management, the poor decision on quarterback, who to start at quarterback, the poor offensive coordinator hiring, the game management is horrible. The timeouts, not that he pissed me off one game with that Abdullah touchdown. He didn't challenge, or was it the Madison touchdown? It was one of those two. Abdullah or Madison scored the touchdown, and he did not challenge it, and we end up getting stuffed on the goal line. That
Oh yeah,
really
I remember that.
pissed me off. So I don't think I've seen too many coaches coach that way, and it was a piss poor coaching performance for me through the season. So I might have to give him a D, man.
I'm not just talking about AP. I'm talking about the coaching staff as a whole. So not just him.
coaching staff. Well, if you want to
As a
say the
whole.
coaching staff as a whole, with Patrick Graham kind of balance it out a little bit.
Right.
He did a great job as well. So he did a great job. So with the coaching from the defensive staff, offensive staff, offensive linemen, whatnot. Let's see, man. I guess I could say maybe a C plus.
C plus.
Yeah, because we only won 4 games. You can't give them nothing too crazy. So
That's actually higher than I thought you would give.
C plus. I said Patrick Graham balances it out. He kind of helps it out a little bit.
I gotcha. The West Side's very high on the defense. I am too, to a point. I'll go next. So, look, Antonio Pierce was my guy. He's not in the door anymore, so I'm looking to move on and forward. And whoever we bring in the door, I would have liked to see him given another chance to, one more season to try and rectify the issues that he had throughout the season, but he won't get that chance. But very disappointing, losing 10 games straight. I liked what I saw from the defensive side of the things with the defensive coordinator, Patrick Graham. Shout out to Severe. Nice to see you in the feed, my friend. Hope all is well. Offensively, our coaching, look, with Luke Getsy, that was just absolutely dreadful. But the turners weren't too bad. But as a whole, including special teams and everything else, I'm going to have to go with maybe a D plus, even despite Patrick Graham being their shining light, in my personal opinion. So, yeah, and nice to see you in the feed, Knockout. And Severe, good to see you, my friend. I've been catching quite a few of your streams of late. You've been doing big things. So for anybody who hasn't already, if you can go and subscribe to his channel as well as my guy, Westside Media, who's in here. If one of the mods can share out their channels, please, that would be appreciated. Ont6, I'll go to you.
I'm just going to say
before I do, that actually surprises me. My grade is lower than yours, Solo. I thought you'd be the bad guy on that one.
I'm being a little nice, man. I'm trying to be nice to the coaching staff,
nice.
Man.
Go ahead, Ont6. Sorry, my bad.
I think I'm gonna have the lowest grade. I'm giving this shit a D plus because at the end of the day, the offense didn't do shit, and if you just throw in whatever the defense did, it's just hard to turn the needle. Even give them an average grade of a C because the offense was just so bad. When you're ranked 32 all across the board, the point blank period, that's all I got to say. So at the end of the day, just the coaching alone is a D plus for me.
Right.
Knockout, to answer your question, well, what are you doing here watching us talking about Raider football? If you want to come in here and talk shit, like, make that make sense to me. But anyways, you gave him a D plus?
Yeah.
All right, I'll go with you first, Ont6. How would you grade the rookies in their first season as a whole?
Oh man, this is hard for me because if we're talking the top 3, you can literally throw an A out there. But if you throw the rest of the class in there, man, it's a little hard for me. But if I was gonna grade it as a whole, I'm gonna say a C plus, just because Brock Bowers and the center. But anybody else after our top 3 picks didn't really do anything this year, and some of them were hyped up. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I'm gonna say a C plus.
All right. So C plus. Solo. What about you, man?
Rookie class, man. I mean, how many picks we had? We had 6 picks, seven picks.
I think 8. Was it 8?
All right. Yeah, Tommy Eichenberg let me down. I really wanted. I don't care what people say. I still want Spencer Rattler, no matter how terrible he looks in that system over there. I think he would have did a little better over here. But the first 3 picks worked out. Not so much after that. I think it kind of stopped after that. So Tom Telesco did good at the first 3 picks. Brock Bowers is probably the best tight end in history. We got one of the best tight ends in history now. So you got to give him a good grade for that. Jackson Powers, dominant. He's probably top 5 at his position on the real.
Hey,
What's up, Gord? Let me see. DJ Glaze, he a lot better than the right tackles I've seen in the past couple years. Brandon Parker and those guys. I mean, if I had to give them a grade, rookie class, being that we have a good base to work around, man, I'm gonna say pause. I'm gonna say B.
Nice. All right, my turn. Look, I know it hasn't turned out yet for the lower draft picks, the lower end of our draft class, but it's like I keep saying, I can live with that, because how many times have we drafted in recent history where we're looking at the back end of the draft or the middle of the draft to make up for the fuck ups that we're making with our first few draft picks? Usually we're lucky to get one guy with our first 3 rounds. Look at our 2023 draft class. Josh McDaniels' last draft class. Tyree Wilson, Michael Mayer, and Byron Young. Byron Young's not even on our roster. Didn't even make it past preseason. He got beaten out by Matthew Butler, of all people, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, my God.
Michael Mayer, he gets a lot of hype, but he still has yet to establish himself, in my personal opinion.
Average.
You know what I mean? He hasn't have to establish himself because we've got Brock Bowers there, but you know what I'm saying? And then Tyree, don't even get me started on Tyree. I will probably get into a spiel on him later. But anyways, that brings me back to the now. You know what I'm saying? Comparing this year's draft and getting 3 guys, one of which is an all-pro, broke all kinds of records, and is going to be there's no reason why he shouldn't be a great player for years to come. You know what I'm saying? Right off the rip, we hit the bullseye with Brock Bowers. Jackson Powers Johnson, a guy I really like. He brings that nastiness to the offensive line, which I feel like we've been missing since Richie Incognito was here, and since the days we had that all-stud offensive line back in 2016.
Man,
you know, Gabe Jackson, Rodney Hudson, Donald Penn, and Calicious Emily. You know what I'm saying? We've had some decent guys in the offensive line, but they just don't block with nastiness, in my personal opinion. I really like what I see from Jackson Powers Johnson. Needs to be a little bit more control, but I can live with that. I can live with that being the only critique that we have of him so far. And then you got a guy like DJ Glaze, who's how much of a turnstile has the right tackle position been since the days of Lincoln Kennedy? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Draw some names from your head. Just try and think of any of the right tackles that we've had in the room that's been worth a damn since then. The only name I can think of is Trent Brown, when we could get him on the field. And that was a big problem in itself. You know what I'm saying? Khalif Barnes, he was mid, but I kind of appreciate him now, being that look at all the other guys that we've had in the door since then. But it's still my point. DJ Glaze is a guy we brought in right from the rip. Most of us didn't expect nothing from, a rotational guy down the line, developmental guy at best. He's starting. And
I was wrong about him too.
He was doing a decent job starting, and that's something I haven't been able to say with any other offensive tackle that we've drafted, even with much higher draft capital. I'm looking at the guys like Menelik Watson, Alex Leatherwood. You know what I'm saying? Guys we drafted round 1, round 2, and even those guys were outperformed by DJ Glaze rookie year. So for me, that's a big win. So to get those 3 guys and the rest of the draft class, look, DeCam Richardson is a guy I see potential in, even though he got cooked, but there's context to that. Tommy Eichenberg, underwhelming, not impressed, whatever. You know what I mean? But look, rookie, but he's going to have to show me something come next year preseason. Otherwise, he can go. Same thing with Dylan Lobby. I'm going to be critical of Dylan Lobby. He's a guy who got a lot of hype, didn't really get much burn, and that was a real that spoke volumes to me in the final game of the season when we saw that. Who the hell is that guy Collier out there on the field? We didn't even see Lobby take a snap. Did you guys take note of that?
Yeah, I think that was crazy.
Who the hell is this Collier guy?
I've never heard of him.
Right, and we're seeing him taking snaps, and yet we couldn't see Lobby out there. So that, for me, spoke volumes about his development. So I'm going to be paying close attention to him next preseason. He needs to establish himself over the new guys I'm sure we're going to bring in the door. Otherwise, he could find himself off our roster or relegated to the practice squad. Trey Taylor, I want to see something from MJ Devonshire. Same applies to him. But once again, I can live with the fact that these guys, we're going to have to wait and see if they turn out to be anything worth a damn. As long as we hit it out of the ballpark with our top 3 rounds, I'm good with that. I'm going to give it I'll give it a B+.
Nice.
Almost an A if we had 1 or 2 of our back end guys being good rotational guys. Like DK Richardson was the guy who had the most rotation, but it was trial by fire with him. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, good. Lobby was a small school pick. I didn't see the relevancy of that pick. Well, a lot of guys, including yourself, Raider Solar, was high on the pick. I'm still going to give him time. I'm not going to give up on the guy, but I stand by what I said. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to give him passes if he can't outplay the young cats that we bring in the door, including Sincere McCormick. If Sincere McCormick outplays him next preseason, sorry, Dylan, you got to go either the practice squad or find another team.
Yeah.
All right. Salute to you, Raider Pete. I'll just read out his comment because he's just hit the feed. Afakasi, I think the bookends of Telesco's first year was his eventual doom. Lack of forcing a Jacobs deal, if that's true, because Josh showed his lack of maturity, and to the Minshew debacle. Yeah, well, we already discussed that, but salute to you. We've moved on from him, so I guess we're just going to have to wait and see who we bring into the door. But anyways, this is pretty much a no-brainer, but I'm going to ask the question anyway. Raider Solo, rookie MVP.
BB, man, Brock Bowers. It ain't nothing else to talk about. This segment will be real quick, real quick.
Yeah.
Right. And same answer for you, Ont6.
Yes, it is. The one and other, Mr. Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers, absolutely.
Tommy Eichenberg, runner up.
Well, look, he's going to get his chance to develop, but I want to see something from him. He needs to be a little bit better next preseason. But look, shout outs to Jackson Powers Johnson and DJ Glaze for the reasons I highlighted before. But look, it can't be any other answer. It has to be Brock Bowers.
Right.
An all-pro in his rookie season. Not even a pro bowler, an all-pro. That's the best of the best. Breaking 3 different records and, being a first-round draft pick, which we hit out of the ballpark and is able to produce right from the rip. This is what we want when it comes to first-round talent and when we're using first-round draft capital. Not these rotational guys that we're bringing in the door or these project guys. You know what I'm saying? So a big win with us being that we got that in Brock Bowers.
Right.
And Severe Raider Solo is trying to raise my blood pressure. Well, you only have to talk about AOC being the, what was it? Severe Raider, the baby Kurt Warner. Oh, God.
Tommy Eichenberg, baby.
Baby Kurt Warner.
Robert Spillane 2.0. Yeah. Anyways,
Shit.
move on to the next one. Offense. It's probably the same answer. Offensive MVP.
I'm gonna switch it up. I'm gonna switch it up. I ain't gonna do Brock Bowers, man. Jacoby Myers, man. I want to give it to Jacoby Myers on the real.
That's what's
this
up.
dude, his first 1,000-yard season. A true professional, not a crybaby and a quitter like others. I ain't gonna say no names, but Jacoby Myers has been nothing but a true professional and consistent in all his play. This guy don't drop passes, man. So if I'm gonna give anybody offensive MVP other than because it's obvious Brock Bowers is the best weapon we have, but Jacoby Myers deserves some real credit, man. That dude is the guy. I don't give a shit. We got to keep this guy. We have to pay him whatever he wants because he's the only one that's been keeping this offense going other than Brock Bowers, man. So I got to give my boy Jacoby Myers some love, man.
Is he a free agent?
No, he's still on the contract.
Yeah, he's still on the contract. But I'm just saying, for future references, we need to go ahead and lock him in.
I get what you're saying. Good answer. I appreciate that. Just before you read your comment out, Cool Kev, can you see that comment? Alvaro Martinez is Brock Bowers in the champagne room. Champagne showers.
Allegedly.
Go ahead, Ont6. You want to announce your offensive MVP?
You know what I mean? It was just unbelievable the record-breaking years they had together as a trio, especially when they rushed for 1,600 yards and 16 touchdowns and made us all forget about Josh
Sorry,
Jacobs.
Ont6, the first bit of that cut out. The first bit of what you were saying cut out. I didn't hear.
Okay, my bad. I'm saying I'm gonna give it to this three-headed monster that we had at running back this year that broke all kinds of records and made us all forget about Josh Jacobs. When I'm talking about the tandem of Amir, Sincere, and Zamir
rushing for 1,600 yards.
Man, them guys running the ball. Holy crap, dog! Their elusiveness and their ability to find the hole, second to none. I'm gonna give it to my boy Amir, Sincere, and Zamir as our MVP. No, but in all seriousness, I was gonna say Mr. Jacoby as well, but since my boy Solo say, I'm gonna give it to my boy Brock Bowers as well. You know what I mean? As a rookie breaking records that haven't been broken in many years and stuff, it's just unbelievable. So shout out to my boy Brock Bowers for taking another award.
For sure.
Yeah, I like Solo's answer, going in a different direction, but and kudos to Jacoby Myers. Look, for all the flack that I gave the old regime, especially with with a lot of their decision making, Jacoby Myers was a guy we brought into very little fanfare, and he exceeded every expectation, including my own. Sal, the Three Stooges running back. Well, look. Before I go on my spiel about offensive MVP, I will say at least Sincere McCormick and Abdullah proved that they can play when they were given the chance to run the rock.
Right.
It was the other guys in the room, especially believing Samir White was going to be the guy that was going to be just as good, if not better, than Josh Jacobs. Ridiculous. But anyways, I want to get back to what I was saying about the offensive MVP. Anyways, Jacoby Myers, a pleasant surprise, definitely worthy of consideration, but for a rookie to come in, become an all-pro and break 3 different records, for me, it can't be any other answer. Brock Bowers. So, shout out to Brock. Raider Pete. When healthy, O'Connell and Jacoby were a fire combo last season and this season. We would have beat the Squealers this season if Jacoby was not out. Shake my head. And severe rate. 2 words, baby Kurt. Yeah, baby. Right. All right, so just a little bit of context. Me and Severe, we shared a panel a couple weeks back, just when I think AOC was coming back to start. And a certain content creator, he's a nice guy. I don't want to name names, but in the space of 2 minutes, he kept referring to him as baby Kurt Warner. And you could just see the nauseating facial expressions me and Severe were, both producing on the stream. I couldn't take it. But anyways, I'm not going to crown him as the next baby Kurt. But he's not all the way trash in my opinion. But I don't like crowning these guys with nicknames before they've done something consistently of note. You know what I'm saying? For the Raiders. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But anyways, we'll go to defensive MVP, and I'll go to you first on 6.
I mean, this one's going to shock a lot of people and stuff, but after the unbelievable season he had, breaking the single-season sack record, and he made everyone forget about Max Crosby, who our boy Tyree Wilson. Man. Are you serious? Who else are you going to give the award to? You know what I mean? He's the second coming of Max Crosby. He was going to rewrite all the Raiders record books, right? And that's what somebody said. What happened to that?
The next Howie Long and Greg Townsend, right?
No? Okay, never mind, guys. But in all seriousness, there's only one defensive player that we can actually give it to, and he made the Pro Bowl, and that's our boy Max Crosby. So shout out to Mad Max on his another Pro Bowl.
Okay.
Did he make the Pro Bowl? Okay.
Yeah, he did.
He made it off his name.
Good enough for me.
What about you, Solo?
Man, I'm gonna give you the real defensive MVP, Robert Spillane. Man, Robert Spillane is that dude. Man, listen, dude, still getting interceptions out there. You know, still probably leading the team in tackles. I mean, a true professional. Like I say, I just love guys who's professional and who come to play every single damn game. Robert Spillane has been the most consistent player on the defense. He's been the most reliable. You know, he does good in coverage. You know, he does good in the blitz packages. I would say Trayvon Merrick, but Robert Spillane. He just all that game with the Ravens when he got that interception. When I think he got the interception off of Jacoby Myers' script. I can't remember, but I think he got an interception on that one. And I just love Robert Spillane, man. That's my guy, man. So if I'm gonna have to give a defensive MVP, it's got to be him for me.
There's a few shout outs I could give it to. I liked Trayvon Morig. I thought he stepped up this season, and he was I thought he played well. I thought our safety tandem of him and a pleasant surprise in Troy Polamalu's is it nephew or cousin?
I think it's his nephew.
Whoever it is, he's related to Troy Polamalu, and that's Isaiah Polamau. So a pleasant surprise when he got tasked with starting. So I can appreciate him. Severe Adam Butler was another. He's been a pleasant surprise and a revelation since he's been in the door. And another guy, much like I said about Jacoby Myers, a guy, I'll say the same about Adam Butler, a guy who came into the team with no fanfare. You know what I mean? Like, this is after we've been drafting, like we've been utilizing draft capital on defensive tackle after defensive tackle over the last 10 years. And none of them, barely any of them, are even decent rotational guys. It's been a woeful experience when it comes to the way we've drafted interior. You know what I'm saying? But Adam Butler has been a revelation since he's come in the door. And probably, in my personal opinion, when you think about it, to me, he's been the best interior since the days of Richard Seymour and Tommy Kelly. Name one better. Please, somebody, name one better than what Adam Butler's been able to produce in the last 2 seasons. Granted, Christian Wilkins, I believe he's going to live up to the contract we're paying for him. I hope so, but like he was out for most of the season. So shout out to Adam Butler. But as for my defensive MVP, Max still had he was still playing great, but like he had a down year, in my personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Do I still give it to him? Actually, no, I'm going to roll with Solo. I'm going to give it to Robert Spillane. The all business. Look, this guy's all business, always consistent, leaves nothing on the field, underappreciated outside of the true Raider faithful. Yeah, I'm going to live with that answer, Robert Spillane.
Nice.
All right. Best free agent. I'll go with you, Solo. And just for context, you can include mid-season free agents.
That's obvious. K'Lavon Chaisson. That's the best thing we brought up in this building. You know, I would have loved to see what Wilkins would have did. Because I know he was already getting into the zone of wrecking havoc, man. But K'Lavon Chaisson, you know, a guy, I think he was a former first-round pick, right?
He was.
So he kind of showed why he was picked that high. So, you know, we needed help with Malcolm Kuntz being out, Tyree Wilson not showing up the games, you know, being there but not showing up. So, yeah, K'Lavon Chaisson, it's an obvious free agent signing for me, the best one we had outside of Wilkins. So I'm gonna have to go with K'Lavon Chaisson, man.
Tom to Leon. Thanks for the comment, my friend. Nice to see you. Hope all is well. I'll go next. On.
You play.
Yeah, I felt like I had to highlight that about mid-season because like a lot of people that when I speak to them about like who's the best free agent, they seem to forget about that and they go with the guys we signed preseason. And the only one that I feel like was been worth a damn, and that was only for like what, a quarter of the season, was Christian Wilkins. You know what I mean? The rest of the free agency class was quite disappointing, if I'm going to be honest, and that's something I want us to have a more urgency with come this off season with our free agency period.
Right.
I don't, I liked what we did with Christian Wilkins, but I want to see a few more players that should address the areas of need that we will have on our roster. But anyways, as far as my answer, like you can't, for me, go past K'Lavon Chason. This is a guy who I remember when we signed him, and the way I tried to remember his name, you guys might remember this, is I kept saying K'Lavon Chason better than Brandon Faison. Do you remember I was saying that when we just signed him? So that was my way of remembering his name. But he most definitely gave me reasons to remember the name when he started to produce for us. This is a guy who came in, we signed him from waiver wire or free, he was let go by the Jaguars. Didn't work out there, former first round draft pick.
Right.
So we signed him, and clean slate, no expectations, so there's no pressure on the guy. And for what he was able to produce, especially when Max Crosby was down injured, and we really needed our other guys to step up. I was looking at Janarius Robinson,
Snowden,
Charles Snowden. They had their moments and they had their spots, especially Snowden in that Cleveland game. But after that, pretty inconsistent. Tyree Wilson, look, he had his spots, but for me, like there was never a moment or a game where I said I can see potential of him living up to that first round draft investment. You know what I'm saying? Like a spot guy, a rotational guy, but that's not good enough for a guy we utilize a very high first round draft pick with.
Right.
And I want to see better come next season, especially when he's going to have who he has on the outside if we retain Max Crosby and Christian Wilkins, as well as K'Lavon Chason. But K'Lavon Chason, a revelation. And he may have played us out of going to re-sign Malcolm Kuntz, which sucks. I would love to see Malcolm Kuntz back in Raider colors, but if we keep K'Lavon Chason in the door, I think that might spell the end of Malcolm Kuntz, being that he's going to get better offers elsewhere. But yeah, K'Lavon Chason, how many sacks did he finish with? 5 or 6?
I think he had 5.5. I remember.
5.5 sacks. That interception, and he should have had another interception. But like the way he was playing, the way he was consistently putting pressure, even in the absence of Max Crosby, finishing with sacks in that stretch of games, as well as like the thing I've highlighted is that like the way he plays screens. You guys notice that? Like, yeah, I haven't seen a defensive end that we've had in the door that plays screens better than he did since the days of even Khalil Mack. Like Khalil Mack, that was one of his strengths. He plays screens very well, but K'Lavon Chason does that at a very, very elite level. I noticed him always getting in there, plugging up blocking the passing lanes or getting in the way of the running of whoever they're throwing it to in the screens from getting positive yardage or even intercepting the ball. You know what I'm saying? Like screens, like since I've been a Raider fan, has always been the bane of our defensive existence. Like it seems like we're the worst team when it comes to protecting screens, like consistently, like year in, year out. Whenever a team runs a screen, they're getting 5 yards, 10 yards, 16 yards, 20 yards. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really appreciated that about K'Lavon Chason. Yeah, right. And everyone runs screens, and that was something I appreciate about K'Lavon Chason as well as the rest of his play. So that would be my best free agent of the season. But hopefully next year, Christian Wilkins can live up to the money that we're paying him. And I'm certain he will if he remains healthy. But anyways, surprise player of the year, the guy you were pleasantly surprised with that you weren't really expecting much or had a I
don't think Ont6 picked this free agent.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. I thought he did. My bad. Ont6, go ahead.
No, I was going to say this free agent made me forget about my favorite quarterback of all time for the Raiders, Rich Gannon, and him
Ugh.
coming in this season just rewriting the Raiders record books and stuff. It was just unbelievable. You know what I mean? It just wow. What else is today? My boy Garner Minshew, just an incredible season he had as being the quarterback for this team. If I remember correctly, my boy Solo wanted him to start over AOC, where I
Yeah.
wanted AOC to start the season. So I didn't want to bring that up, but I had to bring it up real quick. But at the end of the
Hey,
day, I'm gonna go with you guys as well as Chase on being the best free agent we brought in.
Unfortunately, we were wrong about a lot of things this season. So he's not, the only one who was wrong about
well,
certain
when you
things
got
that didn't work out for the Raiders, right?
yeah, I was about to say Garner would have been better if he didn't have a 1992 Madden playbook out there with Luke Getsy.
For real.
Right. All right, my bad. Sorry if I almost skipped.
No, you're good, brother.
Yeah.
Put myself in the bathroom for a minute or two, but I'll go to you with a surprise player of the season for you, Ont6.
No, to be honest with you, there's only one surprise player, and I don't even think I was going to expect that much when we drafted him. To be honest with you, and that was Mr. DJ Glaze. You know, being him in the third round, I was not expecting him to come in and solidify that right tackle position since he started. So my surprise player was DJ Glaze.
That's a good
Nice, good answer. Yo, what's up, Critique? Nice to see you in the feed, my friend.
What's up, my boy Critique?
Critique, what's up, Critique?
And Critique, we're going to get together tomorrow morning for some Tecmo Bowl soup goodness again. So stay tuned for that one, chat. I'll go to you, Solo. Who's your surprise player of the year?
Surprise player, I would go with DJ Glaze too. That was a good one, but I was surprised about Jacorian Bennett, man. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, that's what's up.
That's a good one. That's a real good one.
With the season he had last season, I was real skeptical about how he was going to play out this season.
For sure,
he Tommy Eichenberg, don't listen. Listen. Man, he selling vacuums in a yo. I'm gonna stop, but let me Jacorian Bennett, dog. That's the dude that surprised me because I didn't see anybody make any crazy catches over him. He wasn't giving up a lot of yards at all. As a matter of fact, I didn't see him give up any catches if I'm being honest with you. But he improved in his tackling. He got more knowledge in the system now. So he surprised me, man. I didn't know how he was going to pan out after that first rookie season he had. It was kind of like I didn't know what he kind of looked real bad in his rookie year, but he showed up, man.
Salute to you, Jude. So Jacorian Bennett, am I spelling it right? I need to put some respect on his name. So
you got it.
B-E-N-N-E-T. Okay.
You got it right.
All right. So Jacorian Bennett. All right, I'll go on a spiel about some of the other guys I felt could be in consideration for this award before I get back to Jacorian Bennett. Isaiah Polamau is another guy that we can consider. He was a guy who he'd been on our roster for the last 2 seasons as a undrafted free agent. And like with undrafted free agents, like you don't really expect too much. Like getting anything out of these guys, even a rotational guy, is a win. You know what I'm saying? He showed some spots and some flashes last year, but then Marcus Epps, our starter, went down to injury, and we put him out there to see what he could do as a consistent starter, and he well exceeded my expectation. He made a lot of he made some game-changing plays and had some impact moments. You know what I mean? Like something that I don't feel when I think about Marcus Epps. Like, can you guys think of him making an impact play or some game-changing moments? I can't. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm very pleased with Isaiah Polamau emerging as not just a starter, a good starter. And I hope to retain him and Trayvon Moehrig, because Moehrig is an unrestricted free agent, but Isaiah Polamau is a restricted free agent, as well as Marcus Epps. He's another unrestricted free agent. So it's kind of scary that like we could possibly be without all three of those guys and go into the next season if we don't bring anybody via free agency or the draft, which I cannot see happening if we don't resign one or two of those guys. But we'd have Christopher Smith and Trey Taylor. You know what I'm saying?
Ugh.
Yeah, that's kind of scary. And salute to Bruce Dallas. But Isaiah Polamau, a worthy consideration. Kalavon Chason, you could even consider in there. For the things that I talked about, like he's a guy we didn't expect much from, so he surprised me too. Adam Butler, you might be able to consider there.
You're right.
But yeah, I'm going to go with your answer, Raider Solo, with Jacorian Bennett, being that I was pretty critical of Jacorian Bennett last year, even in his rookie year, being that there was a few times that I believe I was the first to highlight the fact that I'd seen him jogging on a few players where he was getting beat in coverage and allowing players to get away from him despite having 4.3 speed. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I can accept you take your licks when you get beaten. And look, even Nnamdi Asomugha got beat once or twice. Whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if you're going to show a lack of effort when it comes to, trying to chase down the player that cooked you, you know what I mean? To see jogging up from him on a few occasions like that for me was inexcusable and then unacceptable. You know what I mean? I didn't want to see that again. However, come this season, he was getting a lot of hype from his fellow cornerback room in training camp that he was doing big things, and he was still quiet enough. He wasn't overly outspoken like Jack Jones or Nate Hobbs. He was just quietly doing his thing. And it was more of the same throughout the course of the season before he went down hurt. This guy was locked down, shut down. Nobody was making catches on him. You know what I'm saying? That I could notice when it was one-on-one coverage. If it was man, it was usually if it was zone and he wasn't quite deep enough, whatever it was. But he was a very pleasant surprise and a very pleased to see his progression from his rookie season to his sophomore year. He was producing how I wanted Jack Jones to be, that lockdown, shutdown cornerback, whereas Jack Jones got beaten more times than I would like to have seen. He still had his moments, but yeah, I'm going to go with your answer, Jacorian Bennett.
Nice. Runner-up, Sincere McCormick. That's a runner-up for me.
Well, over Kalavon Chason and Adam Butler and Isaiah Polamau?
Sincere surprised me, man. I didn't expect them to be that good.
He had a 2 or 3 game stretch. I'm not taking away from Sincere. Maybe I am, but it's not really that consistent to really.
He did a little more than Jameer. I'll tell you that.
He did. But, I like what I saw in that little stretch, but it was only that, a little stretch.
Yeah, I mean that's just my runner-up.
Fair enough. All right. So what's next? Okay, I don't want to make the same mistake as I did before. Nope, we've all given our awards. All right. So the fun part, offensive dud, and I'm gonna go with you first. Ont6. Who was our offensive dud for the season?
There's only one guy, and I was just thinking back in my time as a Raider fan. There's only one time other than we had a worse offensive coordinator than Luke Getsy, and that was the second time we hired Art Shell, and he hired the offense coordinator that ran the bed and breakfast, that his only football knowledge was installing the first offense in Madden. Do you guys remember that? You're just thinking, but my offensive dud is Luke Getsy. He was the fucking horrible offensive coordinator we have ever had in a long ass time. How the fuck are you having Devontae Adams run end arounds? You know what I mean? How are you going to have 3 receivers run around or in between running around 5 yards within each other? How are you going to have wrong spacing on the fucking running plays? It's just horrible, the offensive coordinator this guy was. I don't know who else to call it.
Wasn't Thayer Mumford out there on a screen for a play?
Oh, yeah, he was.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous, too. You have our fucking Thayer Mumford out there for a screenplay.
Insane, bro.
Yeah, who else could it be? This guy was a horrible dude, and his only came to fortune is because he was a wide receivers coach when over there with the Green Bay Packers with Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. But somehow he's an offensive guru and he knows what he's doing and shit. So he's the only offensive dud we had this morning. I wish we never signed him Just makes you think what the offense would have looked like if we would have hired Keith Kingsbury, the guy that actually wanted the first time. But
Right.
at the end of the day, this guy's the offense, the dud first than ever. He should go in the fucking bathroom too with Dustin and Ozzy and their stupid ass takes and shit.
Well, I believe he did put him in the bathroom after he got fired, and I don't think he's ever going to come out. He's going to stay.
No,
in there
he's
with
not.
Dustin
He's in there.
and
We'll have a
Ozzy.
little
Yeah,
tombstone in there for him.
him. He can stay in there with McDaniels and Dustin. Right. All right. How about you, Solo?
Yeah, I agree 100% with Ont6, but you know that damn Zamir White, man. I can't I cannot get over how horrible he looked this season, man. I listen. I think one game, if I ain't mistaken, bro, I think one game he had like 9 yards, bro. I said, I know damn well no, a professional NFL running back doesn't have 9 fucking yards, dog. Listen, man, I don't care how bad your offensive line is. 9,
Right.
10 yards, that's unacceptable, bro. That you can't even get a first down with that. What is that? But listen, man. Zamir White, man, you know he had a good he duped us, man. He tricked us last season. He made us think that
We got
he was the
hoodwinked.
guy. Oh, we don't need Jacobs. We got Zamir White. He ran for 100 yards against the Chiefs. He did this, he did that. And he comes out, and this guy did not have not one 30, 40-yard game. Not one. And that if you can't explain that. This dude was like a blind man playing football. I swear, he couldn't find holes. Pause. He didn't read his vision was horrible. I'm a running back guy, dog. I really love running backs, but he just I don't know what happened, what made him go that route, man. But it's no way in the hell Zamir is going to be a Raider next season. It's no way.
Look at Tony's comment.
Couldn't find the hole even if she helped.
I swear, bro.
What's the quote that Bantha, shout out to Raider Ben, likes to say? He couldn't. He would still hit a lamppost in the middle of a desert. You know what I'm saying?
Couldn't hit a chair up his ass, man. But listen, Zamir, bro, it just he really disappointed me more than anybody this year. So, I mean, it's like I said, his vision was horrible. As soon as he got the ball, all he thought was just to run as fast as he could. He didn't have any vision. He didn't follow any blocks. He didn't read any. Didn't hit the right gaps at the right time. It just I'm very disappointed with him, man.
Yeah, and shout out to the 46. Hey, we got Jeff New England's booster backstage, but no, he's left now because his camera and his mic wasn't connected. So, all right, I'm gonna go and have my spiel now. Before I get on my soapbox and build up on what Raider Solo was talking about, I'll give some of the other candidates, so to say. So
it's a good group of them.
Hang on, Jeff, your camera and your mic still not working, so you're gonna have to situate that. I can't bring you in until you get one or the other working. So, yeah, just letting you know. Red Nation Jason, salute to you. Nice to see you, my friend. All right, I'm gonna have my spiel. I agree with everything you said about Luke Getsy, the worst offensive coordinator I can think of that we've had in the door in my time as a Raider fan. Anyway, Gardner Minshew, very disappointing. Need I say any more? There's probably a few other candidates there on the offensive side of the ball. But yeah, and salute to Jerry. All right. I'm going to get in my soapbox about Zamir friggin' White. I'm not even going to give him his nickname that people were calling him before the season. He didn't play to even deserve it. So I'm not even going to call him that. So Mr. Zamir. So this is a guy who was supposed to be the guy that would make us forget all about Josh Jacobs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, people were talking about how he bulked up. And I was hopeful. I was like, all right, look, I still don't see it with this guy, but I'm going to give him a chance. He at least proved at the last half of last season that he can play. All right. 2.8 yards per carry.
That's trash, bro. That's trash.
Say it again.
Can anybody in the chat name me a running back, a feature back that we've had in the door in the history of the Raiders that averaged less than 2.8 yards per friggin' carry as our feature back that's had a decent amount of carries. I'm not talking about these guys who got injured after a game or whatever. I'm talking about a guy who was our feature back for more than 6 to 8 games. You know what I'm saying? Please give me a name, somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, we were rated the 32nd ranked running back room in the league, dead last. Okay, and Zamir White, maybe even Alexander Madison, but had a lot to do with that. More fumbles than he has touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wanted it to work out with this guy, but there's a reason why we were rated the worst running back room in the league. And quite frankly, and how many times have I said it throughout the course of the season? The worst Raiders running back room that I can recollect, at least in my time as a Raider fan, going back to 2009, going back further than that to the early 2000s, and even further than that going into the 90s. Like, can somebody please tell me a running back room that we've had in our history that wasn't worse than the last year's one?
He's by
please,
far
somebody
worse.
tell me somebody, give me a name.
You can't.
I don't care what anybody says. I don't want to see Zamir White take another snap as a Raider. 2.8 yards per carry. I don't care how bad your offensive line is. That is atrocious.
That is, man.
We need to overhaul the whole running back room. Alexander Madison, he can go to, and whoever else, I don't care. We need to bring in one guy, two guys, revamp this whole running back room. And for those who said that this running back room was going to be just as good, if not better, than Josh Jacobs, that was the most horrendous take that I think I've ever heard in the history of Raider YouTube. And that's going to be my final take on the situation. Zamir White, thank you for your services, but I don't want to see him take another snap as a Raider.
He's got to go.
You got to go. You got to go. You got to bounce.
Nice, man.
White. Hopefully that's going to be the last time I'm going to have to rant about Zamir White.
Afakasi's blood pressure going up.
It was. See, I'm like you, Solo. Like, I'm a running back guy. Like, I love my Raider running back.
Right.
I've always had fond memories, and they've always been like among like year in year out, like my favorite player on the roster, whether it be like Darren McFadden in his Raider prime or Latavius Murray, Josh Jacobs, even the other guys we've had in the door, like
Washington,
20 times better than Zamir. I'll take Washington. I will take Jalen Rashad. I will take Marshawn Lynch at the tail end of his career. I would take Rashad Jones. I would take Mike Goodson. I would take Tywan Jones. I would take Justin Fargas, Michael Bush, Lamont Jordan, Tyron Wheatley, Charlie Gardner. I would take all these cats over Zamir White. Get him up out of here. I don't want to see him take another snap. Anyways.
I'll take my high school running back.
Please.
I'm dead ass serious too. But go ahead, continue, brother. Continue.
Defensive. I'm gonna blow a gasket soon, so I'm gonna go to you, Raider Solo. Defensive dud.
Defensive dud. If I gotta pick one, this is tough, man. You know who's the main guy that I would usually pick, and it's Tyree Wilson. But I can say the guy has been making strides. And he's been doing his part, man. He has been getting better. But
I'll give him that.
I will give credit where it's due. But, man, this is a toss-up, man, because it's kind of hard to say, man.
Tyree Simple Jack Wilson.
Just because I'm gonna have to go with DeCameron Richardson, man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay. I'm sorry, man. There's no way that what's that guy from the Chargers? He had a career game on him, man.
Quentin Johnson, yeah,
bro. And this dude is he's not like that, man. He is not like that, bro. That's gonna probably be the best game of his whole entire career. And just DeCameron Richardson, man, I just don't know, man. I know he's a rookie and all of that, but listen, man, he played way too many games to be horrible like that. Every quarterback targeted him all game, every game. And I don't see anybody else on this defense I can point out and say was worse than him. So, I love his effort. because he is a decent tackler, but in coverage, man, he is horrible. I'm sorry, but my dud is the Cameron Richardson, man. And I was worried about him in the draft when we drafted him.
So Cool Curve has given us an answer about Maurice Jones-Drew. I'm going to give you some objectivity to that. Maurice Jones-Drew, the year we had him, was at the tail end of his career. Like, he had nothing left to give. And he wasn't the feature back that year. It was supposed to be McFadden. I'm gonna. It still applies. Like, he wasn't the feature back. He was supposed to be the spell back. But anyways, right. That's an interesting answer with DCam Richardson. What say you, Ont6?
I mean, mine's gonna be a little surprising for you guys, but my defense, the dud, is the fucking injuries. All the fucking injuries that we had all season long to this fucking defense.
Great
Holy
answer.
fucking shit!
That Tom
fucking injuries to this guy, injuries to that guy. How was the last time we had so many injuries on this defense? And this still to be ranked as a top 10 defense, that shows you the craziness that Patrick Graham did in the magic he worked this season with this team, bro.
Hey, Severe, he's right though.
Hey, I literally said the same thing. I said that word for word in after preseason, that he got outplayed and beaten by Charles friggin' Snowden and even Janarius friggin' Robertson. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, sorry, go ahead. So injuries is your answer?
Sorry, Ont6.
No, you're good, guys. That was funny. I mean, I'm gonna get into injuries because that was the most injuries we ever had, and just shout out to Patrick Graham for still working his magic and still being able to finish as a top 10 defense with all the injuries and everybody that we were missing the whole year. So my defensive dud is just the fucking injuries, because that's all I really could say, though.
Right.
And
I remember that game versus the Rams. I think that was the game where what's his name? Dennis Allen was fired. The 52 skunk game. Yeah.
No,
that was 2014. No, that was MJD was in the door. I think was it 20? Was he in the door 2013 or 2014? But anyways,
Jones Drew. Yeah.
I don't think. Was he? I do remember the game you're talking about though. That was 2014. That was Derek Carr's rookie season. It was a horrible game. But anyways, good answer there, Ont6. I think you're being a little harsh on DeCamerion Richardson. Personally, like solo, like I can see why you would give him that. You would give that answer, being that he did get cooked more often than not. But stir fry, yeah. But that was for me expected. This is a guy who was a 4th round guy who was still raw, had some things that needed to be coached up, and he wasn't supposed to be our outside starter. But by hook and crook and injuries, we had no other option. We had no other players who could play the role. So he had his trial by fire. So he did have some moments. Granted, they were few and far between. He got cooked more often than not. But I am going to give him a pass, so to say, being a 4th round guy wasn't supposed to be there, taking his licks, much like Amik Robertson did in his rookie season. I remember Amik took as many licks and looked just as bad, but you know what? He ended up turning out to be quite a player. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
There is that. I'm also going to give a mention, and this pains me to say it because I bought his jersey before the start of the season.
Damn.
Jack Jones, I know he had his moments, and, he did make some plays, here and there. But much like I endorsed Antonio Pierce, I endorsed Jack Jones at the start of the year, being that, I had a gut feeling, and just from the small body of work that I saw last season, that he could be that young cornerback that could be locked down, shut down, that true number one that we've been looking for since the days of Nnamdi Asomugha. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I dared to dream, and he had his moments, but not as many as what I would have liked, and I saw him getting beaten more times than what I've liked to. So he gets a mention there too. But look, this guy still he had his moments, he had his spots. And he's been getting better, and I hope he can put it together come year 3, because I don't want to keep shitting on the guy. I'm rooting for his success. I want him to be good. I want him to be great. But I'm gonna have to go with Tyree Wilson, for the same things. Severe was saying, He couldn't even beat out Janarius Robinson and Charles Snowden. You know,
That's pathetic.
like that's not good enough. Granted, he was getting more snaps and making some plays, which I can I can appreciate, but no one's going to sell me, as it stands, that Tyree was worth that top 10 draft pick, spending a top 10.
No. Hell no.
You know, at number 7, like you don't draft in the top 10 of the NFL draft to find rotational guys. You know what I'm saying? They're not even the best rotational player. You draft there to find centerpieces or at least starters. You know what I mean? That was my floor expectation with Tyree Wilson come year 2 was to start somewhere there alongside Max Crosby, Malcolm Kuntz rotating in and out with him, maybe in that interior, because he was playing more NASCAR than not. Like I was seeing him in the interior, which I think that's where he makes more plays than not. You know what I'm saying? And maybe we're gonna have to settle with that's gonna have to be his niche role moving forward. You know what I'm saying? But just for that, like, look, I'm not gonna run away from that being my opinion. Like, you need to be a starter and a good starter as my floor expectation, and he's not even close to that. And like what I saw from Clavon Chason, like he was playing at times, like showing me, like, you know, wow, this guy, I could see why he was worthy of that first round draft pick that was used on him. Granted, it was another team. You know what I mean? Like he had many moments where I said, yeah, I can see why he was considered first round talent. I haven't had that moment with Tyree Wilson, not even close to that moment. You know what I'm saying? Like I just, hopefully year 3 he can produce, because year 3, like you get no more concessions with me. Not that I've been giving him any. I'm one of the loudest critiques in the room when it comes to Tyree Wilson, but I was almost hesitant to give him this award, being that, like you said, Solo, he has been doing better, and I can appreciate that. And when he does do better, I am the loudest one in the room to say so after a game. Right. You know what I mean? Because I want to be wrong about these things that are detrimental to my Raiders. I want him to prove to be everything that I'm criticizing for, that he's not. So, Tyree, please prove me wrong next season.
It's a fair pick. It's a fair pick.
All right. Your final grade of the season, Raider Solo. Take it away.
Shit. Oh, man. Is there a G in the alphabet for a grade? Man, listen. I started the damn year off saying we was going to go 10-7, man. What the fuck was I thinking? Listen, man. 4-13, man. Just think about that. 4-13.
Right.
We won 4 games. We beat the Browns, the Jags, the Saints, and we got to figure it out Ravens. This season has been, I'm not gonna lie, for the first time, I've never wanted a season to end so fast, man. I've never wanted to see a draft pick this fast. I've never wanted to see who our next quarterback was gonna be. The grade of the year, the grade for this team all season, man, it's nothing more than a fucking F, man. We failed. Everybody in the division is going to the fucking playoffs, and we're stuck at the bottom, looking like the losers. And we literally was the worst team in the NFL at one point. You know, we had the number 1 pick, so this season has been a failure. What's going on, brother?
What's up? What's up? How we doing?
England Raider booster. I thought he
right.
Let it. I was hoping he would jump in before we started this, but. Anyways.
Yeah, I forgot that when I do it from my phone, I have to open it in Chrome. When I just work it off the link, the camera doesn't work, the mic doesn't work. And we're on the major highway around here, so I'm like, you know, the wife was trying to figure it out, and she was getting mad at me. So she's still sitting next to me. We're at the location. We're just waiting for guys to show up.
All right. Well, I appreciate you stopping by. I'm gonna let Solo finish off his spiel, and then we'll get to you last. No, all good, man. All good. I brought you in.
All good. But yeah, it's an F, man. This season's been a complete failure, man. We failed. You know, I'm gonna give it the injuries and all of that's part that played a factor in our season. But man, we had poor coaching, poor quarterback play, poor running back room. You know, a bunch of chaos with Devontae Adams. You know, it's just situation after situation after situation. Firing Luke Getsy. It's no way you can give this season anything higher than an F to me.
Gotcha. On6. You're up.
F as well, man. There's nothing. What is there to be proud of? Like I said, everybody in your division goes to the playoffs except for you. You're the only one at home watching all the games. We're F. We're the only ones that fired our coach, the general manager. It's a complete F. So, what else is there to say?
Do I play Mr. Nice Guy on this? Being that
No.
at least the defense had our spots.
Don't.
And what do I do here? Chat, what do I do?
Don't play nice guy.
Gotta be real, man. Tell the truth.
Don't hold back. Because if you're not going to be nice, I know I'm not going to be nice. So.
Oh, shit. You can't be nice.
How can you? You're right.
How many wins do we have? Was it 4 or 5?
4.
4.
Yeah. F. I was almost teetering on D- being the few bright spots with Brock Bowers and the defense, but yeah, F. I tried. I really did. All right, Jeff. I'll let you shoot with what would be your final grade? Is it going to be anything else?
My final, and I said it in the chat earlier when I first jumped on watching you guys. Incomplete. Everything was incomplete. Everything, right from start to finish. Incomplete decision on what you're doing for quarterback. Incomplete decision on the offensive line. I mean, the whole season was, F for failure, I for totally incomplete. No consistency. I told you, if you're not going to be nice, I know I'm not going to be nice. So this failed on all aspects of an NFL team, 100%. It just was a horrible, horrible season. And I'm
Dennis.
I know. I saw him walk by. It's just been a miserable, miserable season.
I'll get out. So you can have your fucking.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks. There's our end of season grades. We'll share solos on the screen there. You guys can comment after the show if you think there should be anything different. There's On6's final grades and awards. I'm going to have to put you on mute, Jeff, as well as my own. So, if anybody disagrees or agrees, if you want to leave a comment down below. A very disappointing season, to say the least. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Just give me a moment, guys. All right. So, any final takes, guys, before we get on out of here?
Go ahead, Solo.
Hopefully we can get this turned around. Tom Brady, he is a winner, but the thing is, I'm worried because just because you're a winner on the field doesn't make you a winner in the office. So I'm just hoping for the best and hoping that we get some changes going. And I was questionable about the decision of firing Tom Telesco, but now that I get it, they want to clean house and start from scratch. And I just, this has been a real rough season making content, man. I hate that my videos are negative all the time. I hate that the fans we always clashing with each other. I really hate that, man, because we supposed to be one, man. We all supposed to be together. We always arguing about what's going on in the organization, and the only way to solve that is to win games. That's it. If you win games, nobody's bitching and crying. So once we get this situation right with the offensive coordinator, coach, GM, we'll be fine.
Well said. On6, did you have any final words?
I did, but it's not related to football or anything, so I'll just wait till the end.
All right. How about you, Jeff? I know you just joined us late, but
I'm moving on to off season at this point. I mean, I'm glad the season's over. It seemed like the longest season in the history of the Raiders organization. I know it was 18 games, but man, it felt like it was a 30-game season. It just seemed to never end.
Right.
Prolonged pain and misery all season long.
Right.
So I'm glad it's over. So we got a big, long off season ahead of us too. So it's gonna be fun. Gives us
Definitely gonna be
content,
fun.
right? Gives us stuff to talk about.
Definitely. Salute to you, Clark. Nice to see you in the feed, my friend. Cool, Kev. Solo forgot that this Raiders community is a Royal Rumble every season. Welcome to the shit show, right? All right. Well, guys, I appreciate seeing you again and sharing the panel with you guys. I don't have much more to say other than, I guess I'm glad that this rough ride is over. We've been put out of our misery, so to say, and we can move on and forward.
Put out the passion.
Yeah, look, I hope we can get this head coaching situation situated sooner rather than later, but we're probably going to have to wait a week or two once the season's finished, being that like a lot of the guys we're considering are in the middle of playoff hunts at the moment. So, yeah, like just get these things sorted, situated, and hopefully whoever we bring in the door is going to lead us back to where we need to be, but lead us back to that commitment to excellence, something we've been missing for the longest time now. And I'm not just talking about for one season or a small period of time. I'm talking about for a consistent period where we're consistently year in, year out fighting for playoffs, but possibly even a Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? So we need to get it right across the board. Coaching, GM, free agency, what free agents we're going to re-sign, what players we're retaining, as well as the draft. We need to hit it out of the ballpark with the draft this season. It's going to be so important. So those are my final thoughts. It's going to be interesting, but I look forward to it. But anyways, that's it from me. Thanks for joining us, gang. Everybody in the chat. I hope you guys have fun. Raider Nation for life. Win, lose, or tie. You know what time it is. Please answer me, guys. It's Raider Nation till we what?
So we
Thanks for having me on, brother.
That's not the answer I'm looking for, Raider Brewster.
Well, I'm sorry, I missed what you said. What?
You gotta listen, my friend.
Raiders till we die.
There we go. All right, gang. So I'm out. Catch you on the flip side for sure.
Later, guys.
See you next
Bye.
time.